Welcome to the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The original name of Korea, Joseon, means the land of morning calm. From time immemorial, it has been called the land of golden tapestry for its world-famous mountains and scenic spots. All of you tourists will directly witness, hear and experience real looks of Songun Korea and cherish impressive memories of them. This is Kim Il-sung Square. It is the central square of Pyongyang, the capital, with a total area of 75,000 square meters. It is a historic place where, since Pyongyang City mass meeting took place on July 28, 1953, to celebrate the victory in the Fatherland Liberation War, there have been held political functions, evening entertainments, mass demonstrations, various meetings, and military parades. This is the Tower of the Chucha Idea. It is a monumental edifice which was erected to eulogize the exploits of President Kim Il-sung, the founder of the Chucha Idea. The 170-meter-high tower was designed in our people's unique traditional fashion of stone tower construction. The body of the granite tower is 150 meters high and is capped by a 20-meter-high torch. It comprises a tower, trio group of worker, peasant, and working intellectual, 6 other sculptural groups, 2 pavilions, and 2 large fountains in the midstream of the Taedong River. The back of the tower body is adorned with choice stones sent by political parties and public organizations of various countries of the world. It was set up in April 1982 on the occasion of the 70th birthday of the respected President Kim Il-sung. This is monument to party founding. It was erected in October 1995 to mark the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Workers' Party of Korea. It tells of the proud history of the party, which is composed of workers, peasants, and intellectuals. The round band of the monument bears the letters reading, "Long live the Workers' Party of Korea, the organizer and guide of all victories of the Korean people." Surrounded by the band, there stand a hammer, a sickle, and a brush, gripped by worker, peasant, and intellectual. The round band represents the single-minded unity of the leader, the party, and the masses. The monument is 50 meters tall. This is Folk Inn in Kaesong. It was opened in 1989. A dwelling during the Korea dynasty was turned into an inn. In the room, there is no bed, but is provided with ondol or underfloor heating system. Guests take meals at a low table. Chicken steamed with insam, set dishes, and other special foods of Kaesong are served here. This is Seonjuk Bridge. On the bridge, Jongmongju, a loyal subject of the Korea dynasty, was killed by Ri Seong-ge and his ilk in 1392 while safeguarding the king of the Korea dynasty. A legend says that a bamboo grew on the print of blood shed by Jongmongju, and so it is called Seonjuk Bridge or Bamboo Bridge. Even today, you can see red print on a marble of the bridge. The red print is said to be the blood of Jongmongju. These are monuments to loyalty. They were erected during the Lee dynasty to teach the people that they should support the Lee dynasty as Jongmongju did to defend the Korea dynasty to the end. Kings of the Lee dynasty, Yeongjo and Gojong, saw to it that the monuments were set up in 1740 and 1872. On the stone monuments, they were inscribed with handwritings of the kings, praising the victor, Jong. The monuments to loyalty are precious heritages, showing the artistic talent of Korean people and their sculptural art. This is Korea Museum. It is Seongyungwan, the supreme learning institution during the Korea dynasty. It was built in 992, but was burnt in fire during the Patriotic War in 1592. It was rehabilitated in 1602 to its original state. Seongyungwan was an institution which taught feudal Confucianism to children of noblemen to bring them up as state officials. Religious services for celebrated Confucian scholars were also performed here. It consists of 12 main buildings and 6 supplementary buildings. In the area in which stone pagodas and tombstones of the period of Goryeo dynasty were transferred to here from other areas. It exhibits more than 1,000 historical relics and other materials showing the establishment of the Goryeo state and its development. In the front yard, there grow over 1,000-year-old ginkgo and zelkoba trees. This is Panmunjom. Panmunjom lies on the military demarcation line of the Korean peninsula. It witnesses the most serious tragedy of the division of the country and the most acute confrontation of war or peace. Panmunjom began to be known widely to the world when the U.S. imperialists bent their knees to the Korean people in the Korean War and signed an armistice agreement. It attracts the attention of the world, and usually visitors to Korea call at Panmunjom. This is monumental stone inscribed with an autograph of respected President Kim Il-sung. It was erected to immortalize the historic date of July 7, 1994, the last day of his life, when he put his signature on the last document on national reunification and died at his post. This is Conference Room District. In front of Panmun Pavilion, a building of the DPRK, there stand 7 buildings, which were used as conference rooms of the Military Armistice Commission and the Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission in the past. In the center of the building, there stands a table crosswise, and on the table there are lying microphones along its middle line. Just it is the military demarcation line, a symbol of Korea's division. Between the buildings, a 40 centimeter wide and 7 centimeter high concrete marker is laid in a line with microphones in the building, thereby forming the demarcation line. The military demarcation line is 246 kilometers long in total. This is the conference room for ceasefire negotiation. In this room, ceasefire talk took place between the Korean People's Army and the US imperialists during the Korean War. The conference room is 1 kilometer south from the northern border of the demilitarized zone. Now in the room, there are preserved the table and chairs used by the senior and other delegates of the Korean and US sides as they were. The armistice talk took place between July 10, 1951 and July 19, 1953. This is the building for signing the armistice agreement. When the armistice talk reached an agreement on ceasefire and its machinery, the US side proposed holding a ceremony of signing the armistice agreement quietly in a temporary tent out of door. It was because the US imperialists were afraid that future generations might see the place where they signed a surrender document after suffering a shameful defeat in the Korean War. In defiance of the sinister intention of the US imperialists, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea saw to it that the building, with an area of over 200 square meters, was set up in 5 days, and so the ceremony of signing the armistice agreement was held here. As a result, this building remains as a witness of history. In the building, there are preserved the table of signing the armistice agreement, chairs, flags, documents, and other materials. This is concrete wall. It is a military structure built by the US imperialists and their followers, east-west in the south side area of the demilitarized zone between 1976 and 1979. The barrier makes you experience the terrible misfortune of the Korean nation, who are living divided, though they have lived in the same territory with the same blood and the same language. But Korea is one, and the concrete wall, a symbol of division, would be destroyed in the near future by the united efforts of our nation. This is Pyongyang Metro. Pyongyang Metro is linking central districts of the city. Its lines stretch to all directions, east, west, north, and south, from the center of the city to provide for the convenience of citizens in traffic. The stations of the metro are reminiscent of perfect underground palaces for a variety of their internal structure and beautiful decorations.
This is the Victoria's Fatherland Liberation War Museum. The museum was opened in August 1953 and rebuilt in July 2013. The total plottage is more than 93,000 square meters. There are the main building with a total floor space of 51,150 square meters, 6,840 square meters of open-air arms exhibition, the monument to the Victoria's Fatherland Liberation War, and the captured U.S. imperialist on the spaceship Pueblo. On display in the captured arms exhibition are the weapons and combat equipment captured from the enemy or destroyed during the past Fatherland Liberation War. Exhibited here are some of different calibers of guns, trucks, armored cars, and tanks captured from the enemy as well as enemy planes. Also displayed here are combat equipment captured from the enemy after the war. This is the captured on the spaceship Pueblo, a witness of the aggressive colors of the U.S. imperialists and the war trophy. The Pueblo intruded into the sacred territorial waters of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea 17 times for espionage acts before being captured by the Navy of the heroic Korean People's Army in January 1968. In December 1968, the United States admitted the espionage acts of the Pueblo and signed an apology of its government to the Korean people, which assured that it would not intrude into the territorial waters of the DPRK in the future. As a result, resolute measures were taken to expatriate the arrested spies. Displayed in the spaceship are the intelligence apparatuses and historical evidences during its capture by the Korean People's Army. Exhibited in the Victoria's Fatherland Liberation War Museum are more than 344 items of historical relics used by the great President Kim Il-sung during the war, and over 120,000 items of valuable war relics, mementos, and materials. There is also a grand cyclorama hall showing the campaign to liberate that zone.
This is West Sea Barrage. It was built across the 8-kilometer wide mouth of the Taedong River in 5 years. It was completed in June 1986. It consists of a dam, 3 locks, and 36 sluices. The construction of the West Sea Barrage formed an artificial reservoir on the lower Taedong River to make it possible to settle the problem of water for farmland and the newly reclaimed tide land in the west coastal area and the industrial water of the industrial region, and keep the Taedong River from overflowing. This is the old home of the respected President Kim Il-sung at Mangyongdae. It is a historic revolutionary place. President Kim Il-sung, the father of socialist Korea, was born in the simple straw-thatched house on April 15, 1912, and spent his childhood here. He was the eldest son of Kim Hyung-jik and Kang Ban-seok. In this straw-thatched house that could be seen everywhere in the Korean countryside before liberation, his family had lived for 4 generations from Kim Ung-woo, great-grandfather. The revolutionary family members of the president were model patriots and indomitable revolutionaries who devoted their all to national independence and the people's freedom and liberation. At the old home of the president, there are preserved farm implements and utensils of daily use, which were used by his revolutionary family members.
This is the Grand Monument on Mansa Hill. The monument gives formative and artistic depiction of the immortal history of the revolutionary struggle waged by the Korean people under the leadership of the great Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. It has bronze statues of the great Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il and large sculptural groups depicting the anti-Japanese armed struggle and the socialist revolution and socialist construction on both sides of the statues. The monument was unveiled in April 1972 on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the birth of the great President Kim Il-sung. In April 2012, the bronze statues of the great Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il were solemnly unveiled on the occasion of the centenary anniversary of the birth of President Kim Il-sung, representing the unanimous desire of the Korean people. Behind the monument is the Korean Revolution Museum with a large mosaic mural of Mount Baekdu, the secret mountain of revolution.
This is Tulima statue. In a Korean legend, Tulima is a winged horse that is said to cover 1,000 ri in a day. The statue was erected in April 1961 to symbolize the heroic spirit and the indomitable mettle of the Korean people who made rapid progress in the post-war rehabilitation and construction at the speed of Tulima. The statue is 46 meters high and 16 meters long. This is Pyongyang Circus. It was completed in 1989, and its seating capacity is 3,500. The theater is modernized for general, underwater, and animal circuses. The aerial acts are famous in the world.